YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this. We got the Eachine E150. Isn't that thing just fantastic? Look how sweet all that mechanism is. This is direct drive. Big old brushless motor down there. And then, of course, we got a brushless motor on the tail rotor as well. Everything on this thing screams high performance, and I'm not a high performance heli pilot. So we'll see how this goes, guys. All right, so we're just gonna lay it down and throw caution to the wind. Speaking of the wind, it's fairly light and it's coming from our right side. So throttle cuts off or throttle hold. And here we go. Okay, remember when I say duck, run away.
Okay.
Oh yeah, look at that. That is not bad at all, guys. Very good. I should have taken off inside. Okay, so first things first, first impressions are very, very easy to fly. So far, the thing looks gorgeous. It's resisting the wind nicely. I feel like the stick inputs are a little bit touchy on the throttle, but that's the way a lot of heli pilots like to fly. Handles the wind actually excellently. I don't know if you guys can kind of see as I'm doing this, there's barely any throttle position change on my stick. And the thing has lots of altitude potential. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like going up and down here in a minute. Okay, going into the wind, there's full up, holy crap.
Jeez.
There's full down, and we're slowing it down. That is a capable heli. Oh man. Now, can you fly this thing inside? Sure you can if you're a good enough pilot and you don't fear for your position in the household and sleeping arrangements being denied. I am just loving the way this thing flies. Now, that is insane, guys.
That's crazy.
And I'm in 6G mode, which basically means it's like baby mode. Now I want to try, I'm in low rate, so let's try high rate. That is nuts. So on high rates, it's a little bit more insane. But I would say that the 3D 6G is working phenomenally. I'm just afraid of getting too far away from us because you're not going to be able to see what the heck is happening, guys. Now, that's not to say that I'm also not afraid of having this thing crash on me. Look at those beautiful, beautiful blades. And the grass, that's so cool. Look at the grass, guys. I hope you can see this good. Mm-hmm. That is so cool. Just kind of making our way through the grass of the jungles of Brian Phillips RC's front yard. Okay, let's see how fast it'll go. Okay, straight up, straight down. That is just awesome, guys. And that's turbulent air right there. It's kind of really whipping up over the hill. So camera crew, how you doing? Are you getting any of this, you think?
I'm trying to not zoom too much because of the sun.
Okay.
Just trying to keep it in the frame.
But I mean, I would say, like, honestly, I feel very in control. It feels pretty easy to fly.
Yeah, I am not super concerned about it.
Now, one issue I have with the Eachine is I'm not sure if I can flip from 6G to 3D and 6G on the fly. Okay, so that's stick all the way down. I'm curious, so I'm gonna try it just to see how terrible it is. Obviously, we're in high rate. I'm gonna go to low rate. I'm gonna go to 3G. And 6G, of course, is gonna do auto leveling. I believe this is just gonna be something less. So let's just go right there and be on the safe side, okay?
Okay.
Not sure how this is gonna go. Okay, so that feels pretty good. Of course, it doesn't auto level. It's not so bad, but I wanna see if I can switch midair. Yes, you can. Look at that. I'm in 6G, so you can switch midair. Let's go up and do a test at a little bit of altitude. Okay, so I'm in auto level. There's not auto level. Oh, that is awesome. Okay, now I'm in auto level. Oh yeah, baby. That is so cool. So even your non-skilled heli pilots can handle it. Because essentially what you end up with is something of a bit of a panic recovery setting, if you will. But look how nice you can get that thing on the ground too. And I'm not even in the wind. There's the wind right there. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. If you want to do maneuvers like rolls and stuff, you go to this mode. If you want to be auto leveled, you go to that mode. So as an inexperienced heli pilot, and believe me guys, sort of holds on by the way, flying these things is incredibly easy compared to what it was just a few short years ago. And I'm talking, there's no way I was doing loops. The first loop I did in a helicopter was on my I have an Apache that was a Horizon Hobby product, and I had it like maybe 4 years ago, and I barely could do a loop. Now I can do loops and rolls and TikTok and all that stuff. Just I don't do it in front of the camera for fear of crashing and embarrassing myself. Not like I don't already do that. So let's go ahead and try some more maneuvers. Throttle holds off. I'm going to go into high rates, and I'm going to try it from 6G just to get off the ground. See, it takes a second. There we go. Okay, so let's go over here and see if we can get away from the sun a little bit. See if that helps. The wind is kind of whipping right here. It comes up this hill. Let's see what happens. You feel that there, camera crew? You hear it? I'm just wondering if this is going to be worse or better for filming.
I can attempt to zoom over here, I think.
Okay.
So I can see.
Yeah, but as I go into I wonder what's going to happen when I go into the sun. How about now?
Yeah, I can still see it.
Okay. All right. Then we're going to try this and see how it works. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now we're in crazy mode. Oh, that is so freaking awesome. And then into 6G. And that's what amateurs do to get their helicopters back in one piece. But I gotta say, this thing is tuned nicely for a beginner. Sorry, I was in the shade of the building there.
No, you're fine.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
So all I've got to say is, in terms of tuning, this thing is probably one of the best tuned helis that I've flown in a while. And that is including the Blade 230, which is a great helicopter. I love it. One of the first that I'm comfortable doing that. But before, we couldn't switch between modes. Not what's in the air. Okay, so let's try some upside down. That is freaking cool, guys. Yes, I am not a heli pilot, in case you guys are wondering, okay? So for me to be able to do that is pretty awesome. Okay, going over this way. Oh, that is so cool. Are you scared yet, camera crew?
No.
Good. I'm surprised. Usually you'd be scared by now.
Yeah.
Did you see that? I rolled it over on its side and then reverse thrust. There we go. That is just so cool. Guys, for any of you who have acquired the strange skills necessary to fly these helis, going back into 6G. Okay, here we go. For those of you who have acquired the strange skill set of flying helicopters like this, I just want to congratulate you because it is very weird. And it's one of those things that most people can't do. And I love to say that I know how to do it, but at the same time, that's kind of a dead spot in my throttle position. Just look how freaking beautiful that is. Guys, this is a capable helicopter for being so small. And yeah, if you fly this in your living room, you're probably gonna end up damaging something just because it is not an indoor helicopter. And yet you could totally do this indoors if you wanted. Okay, I gotta do a little bit more. We've been flying for a while.
Yeah, about 9 minutes.
That's nuts. Gosh, that is so weirdly easy to see the difference between the top and the bottom too. Still waiting for the first heli manufacturer to have a blade that distinguishes well from the top to the bottom, but look how disappearing they are. See, that's a black blade. You can barely see it in the sky. So even if you did a white blade on the bottom and a black blade on the top, I don't think you'd be able to see it. And honestly, the only responsiveness issue I'm having is I seem to have a kind of a dead spot in the middle of my sweep on the throttle. And throttle or cyclic control or whatever whatever you heli snobs are gonna tell me it's called. And I know you will. That is so insane. Guys, incredible, incredible. Coming from a non-heli pilot, this is just awesome to me. Being able to fly helicopters like I know what I'm doing or make it look like I know what I'm doing is just awesome to me. I love it. It's really fun. It's really fun. I would be cutting the grass if I was a better pilot, but I'm not. I'm getting there, folks. For those of you who have the audacity to learn how to fly these things, I congratulate you also, because really, to be honest, flying fixed wing, to me, after years of doing it, it sort of feels almost second nature, but I know how hard it was to start. We try to encourage people every day here on Brian Phillips RC. I mean, we don't film every day, but we do most days. Getting into the hobby, if you're waiting for something to happen, you're doing the wrong thing. Stop waiting. You're wasting your life. Start flying and do it immediately. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait for the next sale. Okay, battery's dying. There we go. Okay, out of the throttle. Throttle holds on. That was a huge flight. Oh my goodness, that was a long flight.
Probably just over 11 minutes.
That is incredible.
Yep.
Okay, throttle cuts on. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go inside, hook this up to the XBC 100 battery tester. Camera crew, would you mind? Mm-hmm. I can definitely say, and I don't do a lot of firm recommendations on helis because I don't feel super well qualified to give a strong recommendation, but I can tell you this right now. This helicopter flies almost as good, if not better, than the Blade 230, which is by Horizon. Very good quality helicopter. I do like the size better on that, the 230, because it's just simply bigger. And it makes it easier for me to see. I have trouble seeing these things. And I'm accused of having good vision. I'm like, no, it's not that good. I used to be blind, but then I had LASIK treatment. And by the way, if you're thinking about that, do it. Stop wasting your time. Just get your eyes fixed. You don't get twice. You only get one set. Look at that thing. That's so cool. It flies so great. It's surprisingly easy to fly. And I'm telling you, when you've got that thing and it's making that crazy noise, it's just something else. And you talk about the pucker factor when you get into a situation where you've got a helicopter or a plane or something that's flying towards you and you're like, oh man, that would hurt really bad if it hit me. Helicopters do that, especially for people that don't know what they're doing like myself. But so far, so good. And then can you put your finger on that motor and just show the people at home that it's not going to burn you?
Oh, no.
Guys, it's not even
Not
warm.
even warm.
Hold this again. No, not even warm. Guys, that is the mark of a well-engineered heli. If it's not hot, if it's not on fire, if it hasn't crashed, and by the way, I think we crashed the 180 in the unbox. I think we crashed the 160 in the unbox. This thing is rock solid, folks. And it's not dead calm. Look at our windsock over there. It's not insanely windy, but the wind blowing right here. It's going up this hill. You see our shadow? That's how far down that hill is, guys. That's 30 feet down. And then beyond there, it just follows this contour of the hill and it comes up and it's like turbulent. So what can I say other than this thing is awesome? I would highly recommend it. I don't know why you haven't ordered it yet. What I was saying when my battery died was, don't wait until next year to start flying. You're wasting time. If you want to fly, start flying today. There has never been an easier time in history to learn to fly radio controlled than right now. And to be perfectly frank with you, there's never been more choices. And there are a lot of very good choices right now. Now, that's not to say this is the only choice, and we never mean to come across as that. on Brian Phillips RC. That's why we have like 1,600 videos or some ungodly amount. You couldn't watch them. We joke about this. You know, if you're on a short stint down at the Pokey, you could probably watch all the videos and then still go home and say, honey, it's okay. I just got to catch up a little bit more. Okay. So all I'm going to say is this. This is awesome. It's really fun. If the price meets your budget, order it ASAP. If you wait 2 days, who knows? The price will probably go up. And who knows? It'll probably be out of stock too. So who cares what the price is? You won't be able to order it anyway. So here's what I'm going to tell you, and this is speaking from experience, folks. If you want it right now, order it right now. If you aren't flying but you want to, start flying as soon as you can. Don't wait to build the skill. It's not going to be any easier when you're older and your eyes don't work as good or your fingers are broken or you get hurt in an accident. Just do it now. You will regret it if you don't, and you won't regret it if you do. If you get your first helicopter and you crash it into a million pieces, you're going to feel really bad about it. And guess what? There's always more to order. I wouldn't even start with this one if you're a brand new pilot. There's also 130s and things like this. We have them in the links below. Very good choices that'll get you in the air, having a good time, and not maybe quite as big a pucker factor. But if you're wanting the full-blown 3D experience, you know how to fly fixed wing or quads or other helicopters, this is not a bad choice. It's very good, surprisingly good for its size, surprisingly robust, surprisingly beautiful. Everything looks serviceable on it. That's something that we have not seen in the past. We are definitely going to share what our voltages are, so don't get too upset yet. So why don't we go ahead and do that next? But guys, here's what we do on Brian Phillips RC. We bring the latest and the greatest to you so you can make decisions based on what's out there. We don't ever want to tell you this is the only option, because that's not true and you know it. This isn't the best thing since sliced bread, neither is the next one we're going to do. But what I'm going to tell you is that we bring a lot of good choices to you on this channel, and you get to decide what you like best. And we bring you a lot of variety. And what you can do to help us bring you more variety is to help fund our channel by buying these things when you do like them. That'll get us a small commission from the manufacturers we work with, and it's going to build clout with these different manufacturers. They know they can send them to us. We're going to review them honestly but fairly. We're not going to beat these things up if they're good, and we're not going to beat them up unless they earn it. Also, we want to make sure you guys know that you're really who we want to reach. We don't necessarily want to reach these guys, but we want to reach you, because there's a million good ways to get in the air, and we want to help you avoid being one and done pilots. One and done meaning you buy an airplane or a helicopter or whatever it is, and it's way beyond your qualifications and you get discouraged and quit. That has happened to thousands of people that have tried this. But what I said earlier stands true. You got to start somewhere. We have a list of beginners. People constantly asking me, where do I start, Brian? There's about 50 different good choices. Okay, I can help you refine that down to 2 or 3 good choices, and then you can make one of the good choices based on what's in stock, what your budget will support. But the thing is, if you're a mid-grade pilot in the heli realm, this thing is awesome. If you're an expert pilot, this thing would be super cool. You could definitely fly it indoors, show it off to the friends and things like that. But just keep in mind, you start flinging these things around at hundreds of miles an hour, you're bound to damage your wife's cabinets when things go awry. So I would recommend, if you do that, wear a hard hat, nut cup, and safety glasses for, you know, and also you might want to bring your invisibility cloak for when your wife notices what you're doing, and earplugs. So anyway, safety first, folks. That's what we do here on Brian Phillips RC. We're gonna get you the voltage next. Stay tuned. All right, so we're inside now. I've apologized, so we're good. Oh wait, I'm sorry, we were talking about something else. What's the battery voltage? Let's check. Oh, and by the way, all you need is a satellite receiver if you're gonna go into the DSMX realm or the S-bus. So S-bus would be, you know, like OpenTX. You could do DSMX on that too. It just depends on what your serial receiver is. And then of course you could use Spectrum transmitter, which would be sweet. You'd have no dead spot in your throw on the throttle stick. But honestly, in the realm of ready to fly, this was a good one. And I'm gonna tell you from personal experience, this isn't like hearsay, this is what I have personally experienced. I have crashed helicopters because of lack of skill. I have crashed helicopters because of broken components. I have crashed helicopters because of failed technology. I've crashed them in every way imaginable. That's all I had.
Oh.
It's dead.
It is dead.
She's done.
Good.
So I would say that our time management was maybe not adequate on that one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna plug this in. Let's see what happens when we plug it in first. You're probably not supposed to do that. Okay, so it's just solid, so it's gonna start charging. Couple things about chargers, okay? Flashing, then it stops flashing, okay? If you have a battery that you draw down out of range, and when I say out of range, I mean below about 2.8 volts DC, that's just, well, I don't want to say it's just as bad. It's bad, but it's not necessarily just as bad as going over 4.2. There is a range that LiPos operate, and it is from about 4.2 down to about, let's call it 2.89, and then they just really fall to almost nothing. And that's what they're designed to operate in. If you operate outside of that, what's gonna happen is you're gonna pull one cell down really quick versus the next, and you're gonna sag, what they call a sag. And especially in helicopters, because you have constant rotational load. And then as you change the pitch, you really load that motor, especially when you're doing 3D stuff like I was, okay? But as you can see, we had a pretty fair amount of warning getting it to the ground, going from that 3S, probably losing one of those cells. You could see in the battery checker that we lost cell 2 was basically down at the 1.7 range. So that gave us enough power to get the thing to the ground. So very satisfied with that performance. Guys, I'm not a heli pilot. We've been doing a lot of flying with the Blade 230. And yes, this is not a video about the 230, but look at the size difference, folks. All I'm gonna say is when you get a bigger helicopter, it's easier to see, but it's also the pucker factor can go up. And just to give you an idea of the difference in quality and build, this is plastic and things like that. Of course, I added these little light kits on there, but I just want you to see, I like the way this looks, okay? I also like the way this looks. I think it looks sweet. So the truth is, I am a scale guy. I like seeing scale airplanes like this Boeing 737 MAX 9. That plane is one of the few that doesn't help to support us if you buy it from our links. But the thing is, that is an awesome plane and I would love it. Here's another little scale plane, a Cessna 182. This one never actually worked, so we took all the electronics out of a cat-killed plane. So these are the types of things you're gonna look forward to seeing on Brian Phillips RC. We do all sorts of different things. Of course, this is a Citation. We added flaps to this thing. It's been crashed. I think this one hit the power lines and came to the ground. We had it flying in an hour, and look how cool this thing is. Of course, it's been beat to death. And then things like VTOLs. Right here, this is JJRC MO2 rather. That thing is amazing. Very good gift, very easy to fly. You can go from horizontal to vertical flight with the flip of the switch in this room, no problem. And then you can flip back and land it on your counter. It's amazing what you can do. The technology is getting so good. These flight controllers are just phenomenal. And by the way, let's weigh this thing real quick and show the people. I'll go ahead and grab the scale. People are asking themselves, is that sub 250? Why sub 250? 250 grams, of course, is gonna make it subject to the FAA drone registry in North America. I mean, there's some different rules over in Europe and some different rules in Russia and Japan and everywhere else. Everybody always has stupid rules. Don't worry, it's not just here. Okay, so let's just plop that on there loose. We'll drop that on. We'll drop a battery in. Guys, look at this. Look at this, sub 250. Yeah, buddy. So what does that tell you? That means that you can fly it outside of the drone registry, which means, you know, you don't need to pay the $5 fee. Now, right now, it's really easy. $5 fee. If you're flying for recreation, it gets you 3 years. And then the federal government knows where to send the $27,000 fine if you do something stupid enough to justify such fines, like flying around airports and things like that. So just don't do that. That's dangerous. You could get somebody killed or lots of somebody's killed. So please don't do that. Also, if you're going to do something phenomenally stupid, don't film it and put it on YouTube, even though everybody gets a good chuckle out of it. It does kind of hurt us in the industry, as you can probably imagine. We try to and follow as many rules as we can and try to remain as compliant as possible. But as you know, there's many, 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 many stupid rules, and most of us don't even know about them, which is the way I like it. So, fly safe, don't hurt yourself, don't hurt others. This thing's awesome. It's sub 250. I would definitely recommend it if you're mid-grade. Like if you think you know how to fly helicopters already, but you're ready to make the step into 3D, this thing would be a great choice for you. The 6G makes it so easy to fly. I mean, the camera crew could probably fly it. But it is a little bit touchy. If you lowered the rates a little bit more, it's at 80 right now. You could lower it even lower to like 60. Camera crew could handle it. So very, very satisfied with this. I did not expect to give such a good review on this helicopter, but I'm loving it. So that's the Eachine E160. I got mine with 3 batteries.
E150.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say E160? Yeah. My apologies, folks. I meant to say 150. We have reviewed the 160 also. I like this. I'm very satisfied with it. Get one. Guys, stay tuned. So much more to come. We appreciate you. Best audience in YouTube history, obviously. And if you want to support us, buy it from the link. We also have PayPal and Patreon available, as well as a million other items. Come back for more. YouTube, it's right, pals. Watch this. We got a box here. Oh yeah, look at that. It's the E150. This is from Eachine. This is a cool helicopter. It's more capable than many that we have done, but less capable than others that we've also done. The Eachine, okay, so the 180 is the most capable Eachine that we've done. I think we've also done the 160, but this is just obviously one step down. And so we're excited to see this. Eachine, of course, makes good stuff. Generally speaking, we've had quite good luck. And so let's pop this thing out and see what we've got inside the package. Ooh, pretty simple packaging. Nice display style packaging. Spare blades, charger. Looks like some sort of a squishy thing. Oh, those are extra grommets. Comes with a Phillips screwdriver. And that's a 2S charger that goes into a USB plug. And then an extra tail rotor, which is pretty cool. And that thing is slick.
And our box did come wrapped in, so you couldn't see what it was if it was like a gift.
Right. If you guys are buying this as a gift, you better hurry and order, because all this stuff takes time to get. Where it's coming from to where it's going, and there's lots of delays worldwide. Ooh. Oh, yes. That thing looks sweet. Look at this. That is so cool. Wow. Fly barless design, of course. That just looks really nice. It's all metal in there, or carbon fiber. And then look at that brushless motor, direct drive. So that's pretty sweet. So there's no gears to worry about. And then, of course, we've got these pop off, and there's the flight controller. Batteries inside, so let's get that thing charging. Okay, it looks like it comes with a 500 milliamp, 11.1 volts, and it's got an XT30 here. So let's go ahead and get that started charging. We'll just show you that the provided battery charger does work, but I have made my own adapter. So then this particular one came with 2 extra batteries, and of course the transmitter. So we'll take those things off just so nobody gets confused. This transmitter feels like the same one that we've seen before. Obviously, there's not going to be any. Oh, it's labeled 6G3D. That's nice. High and low. That's pretty sweet. Okay. Throttle hold. Nice. Okay, and then we're going to need to get 4 AA batteries, so we'll come right back to that. And then inside of this package, it looks like we have 2 additional batteries. Ours came with 3 batteries. When you follow the link in the video description, you buy this for yourself, or you can go and investigate a little bit further. Then you will be helping to support our channel with small financial contributions from these guys when you buy it. And then that also helps build clout within the RC community when they see that our reviews help lead to sales. So again, we don't need to sell you guys anything that you don't like, but if you buy the stuff that we review, then that does help us to get more things to review, which is kind of what we're trying to do. Okay, so this one came with 3 batteries. You can get it with, I believe, with 1 battery, 3 or 4. I don't know. There might not have been 2 on this one. Not that it really matters. That does change from time to time. And a lot of it depends on the country of origin, where the order is starting from, because they have rules shipping lipos. And it depends on the capacity of the overall set of lipos. That's the way I understand it. So very nice case. Should be quite easy to pack this thing back up. Doesn't have a carrying handle, which is a little bit unusual. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and see how this charger works real quick. We always talk about the charging of batteries just because It's just something that we do. Actually, we have a little charger. We have a charger right here. So this is going to be, I was going to use this charger. This one here is 5 volts at 2000 milliamp hours, okay? Or milliamps, not milliamp hours. That's a rate. If you had hours in there, that constitutes something different, okay? So we'll plug this in now. What does this say for an input requirement? It says 2.5 amp hours is the max. So we're good on 5 volts at 0.5 through 2.5. So if you only have 0.4 amps, or if you have 400 milliamps, then the charger or the AC adapter will not be sufficient. So you need at least half an amp of current. Okay, so the red light comes on. It's got a slow flash. And then, of course, you plug in the balance lead. It is keyed, so you can't get it wrong unless you've got a pin that bends. Then it goes to a solid state, okay? So if you want to pause, we'll get the other method set up and come back and show you how I'm going to. All right, so we have 500 milliamp, 30C packs here. As mentioned, there's a provided charger, so we're going to go ahead and charge with that. But then what we're going to do is we'll take and go ahead and hook them up over here. This is a smart charger that I like to use. And so, of course, I've got different cables that I have built over my many years of doing this that give me adapters so that I have easy ways of hooking up different types of random batteries and different equipment. So, for instance, this one's an EC3, so that'll give me a way to plug in the balance lead on, or the balance discharge lead on this right here, okay? And then this has an extremely short balance lead, which is not unusual on a small pack. So this smart charger is going to tell me what the voltages are on the pack. And so this is a 3S battery. So I'm going to go ahead and change my current from 4, which is insanely fast. Whoops, don't want to go up, want to go down. This is 500 milliamp hours. So I can, does it say what speed? It doesn't say what C rating, so I think I can be safe at about 1 amp. That'd be about 2C. And it's on 3S already. And so I'll hit start. So now it's going to tell me how many milliamp hours it's forced into the pack. And that's a function of time. So you'll note that it starts counting the time. And then I can scroll down and I can see my voltages per cell. And then I can see the internal resistance. So that's always handy. This is called the S2200. Of course, that's a Spectrum product. So we have links to smart chargers below. So we always have that there. This is another one I built. And basically, I just took, these are just little motor leads. So when you have a brushless motor that either gets damaged or if you need to repair or build one to different size ESCs, I just use those little leads to go into the XT30s. Now, the best thing you could do is just get an XT30 to IC3 or whatever variety you like to use. So I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do again. I'm just going to plug this one in here to the second port. Brings up the values, and you can see we're on channel 2. Then I hit that, go up, changes from 4. I think I'll charge this one at, we'll go to 1.5, which is 3C. That should be pretty standard for a Heli style battery. I tend to use the 30C rating as no greater than 3C. I charge at 1C unless we're filming and I'm in a hurry to get a battery ready for flight. So what we'll do is we'll also get our XBC battery checker, but let's get some batteries in the transmitter while we wait. Okay, so we've got the world's cheapest Harbor Freight batteries here. They actually give these away. They pay you to take them. They're so bad. And we're just going to stick those in. You'll note that those did not come with the helicopter. This is a ready to fly, but it's not quite that ready, which is pretty typical of the Chinese brands. Okay, so we've seen this transmitter before. Looks like we have an indication of high or low rate there. We have some stick feedback on the screen, which is nice. You can see that's high rate. And then this is low rate. You can tell by moving the stick, that's high, that's low. You see that's 80 compared to negative 80. Okay, so in high it's 100, in low it's less. Okay, so we'll start in low rate on that. And then of course we have 6G or 3D. And it doesn't look like it indicates that anywhere on the screen, but you can go in and make changes to each of your settings. And then of course you have F mode, flap, and then gear. So I'm just gonna put this in 6G for now. And then what's this? This is throttle hold. So throttle hold towards you should cut the throttle, and you can tell because that's 0. Now it's 70. Now it goes to 0. Throttle cuts on, throttle holds on. We call it throttle hold on a helicopter, and I don't know why. So let's look through the manual for a couple of minutes. This is the most exciting part of our videos, historically, the manual review. Also, I want to look at this. There's actually this extra sort of protective thing in there. That's weird. I wonder if that's supposed to be packaging or if that's supposed to come out of there. I don't know. I guess I'm going to leave it there for now. It will make the helicopter a little bit heavier. This carbon boom is really nice. And by the way, that is a brushless motor back here. Very cool.
It's very small.
And then the wires route through this relatively thick boom. And then these landing gear skids feel like they're plastic, which I actually kind of like that. A lot of times they're made of carbon fiber and they are so brittle and they're sharp. You get carbon in your fingertips. Looks like Eachine E150 servos, which I can't tell if those are metal. They are metal gear. Well, that's pretty sweet. Man, that is a really robust build for a little heli. I bet this thing would stand at some crashes, so we'll test that here shortly for you by accidentally crashing our helicopter in just a few mere moments, if you can hold with us. Also, as usual, you've already seen it fly or crash or whatever happened, but this is the unboxed part, the build and the radio setup. Of course, there's not really any build involved here. But let's just flip through, peruse the manual, okay? Looks like additional safety warnings. Make sure you pack a lunch in case you get hungry. Looks like this is pretty simple stuff. I think I may have said 2S earlier, and if I did, I apologize. This is definitely 3S. Okay, diameter of propeller, 56 millimeters. That's the rotor, 355. So 355 here, that's pretty cool. Okay, so it looks like that waxy finish makes it hard to see, doesn't it? Oh, there you go. That's one of the things that led me to this helicopter. They have a DSM to DSM-X plug. Those lines don't line up very good, do they? Look.
Not really.
So basically, if you're looking at the flight controller, there's your DSM-X plug. Sweet. See that right there? And then they have an S-bus input too. And then they have channel 1, channel 2, channel 3. And then I think these must be gain settings. I'm not sure. But it looks like the ESC is integral, which is pretty awesome. So that's exciting. Oh no, the ESC is separate. And then that board goes out. They've got screw-on terminals, very nice setup. Okay, excited to see this thing fly. It's a very small helicopter. I mean, if you look at it, it's just not very big at all. And some of these helis are just incredibly capable. And to be perfectly frank, they're a lot better than what we were getting just a few short years ago. Oh, okay, it says here. So it's 3 volts, DSM2/DSM-X, swash plate sensitivity, and then lock tail sensitivity. Okay, so that looks like it's this. This one's the tail, then the swash plate, and then 3 volts DSM2. So that's weird, is suitable for DSM receivers, and 5 volts is suitable for Futaba. Okay. Well, I guess that's how you adjust the actual output voltage. So that's very strange. I've never heard of such a thing, but I guess that's something that you guys probably know if you know helis better than I. So if you just kind of look here, press 4 times to enter debug mode. Flight battery installation, debug pitch of thread explanation. The product has passed the inspection. Okay, blah, blah, blah. All right, so I don't think I want to mess with that if I can avoid it. Exploded view diagram, that's pretty nice. They do have numbers for each part that you can see there. That's pretty nice. Now, whether or not you can order them is a whole nother story. Okay. So there you have it. And then of course they've got this manual for the actual transmitter. This transmitter has been used, it's an E6 is what it's called. It's been used on many other setups. So if you look over here, we've got a description of what each of the screens say and what they do. But this is a more generic setup because this is generically used for aircraft, whether it be a helicopter or an airplane or whatever it happens to be. I believe you can tighten the grip on these back here. And you pop these out and you can tighten that. These are actually pretty nice transmitters. I've had a few that have come with gimbal issues, but this one feels really nice. So I'm excited to try that. And it is nice to be able to get something ready to fly that's going to give you everything you might need. Okay, so here's the features. Standby mode of controller. Okay, so channel forward reversing. This is fixed wing tuning, and then this is helicopter tuning. So we're going to have access to channel forward and reverse settings, big, small rudder settings, which is dual rates in Expo. Expo curve settings, throttle curve settings, pitch curve settings, gyroscope settings, flight module settings, and then mode catalog or category settings. I'm not sure what that is. Swash plate category, and then servo midpoint settings. Okay. That's pretty straightforward stuff. Then it talks about Expo and all that. That's confusing for people. And really the gist of it is when you push the stick forward, you know, at 100% forward, you're gonna get 100% output if you're at high rates. So there's 100% forward. So it's gonna lean the helicopter as far forward as it can do. And then when you go back like this, or it's gonna impact change in that axial rotation as fast as it can. Whereas let's say you're 30% down and you've got Expo at like 35%. Then that means the first 35% is gonna basically be somewhere between 0 and 30 as you move through the stick. And that's why you see these curves instead of straight lines. But really the best thing I can tell you is if you're not sure how Expo works, it's easier to explain it in aircraft like airplane fixed wing performance, in my opinion. Although a helicopter Expo works a lot like Expo on an airplane, it softens the stick. So like if you've got a rudder over here, this is your yaw control, this is your throttle, this is your roll left, roll right, pitch back, pitch forward. So to fly forward, you would give a little bit of throttle, you get up to speed, you take off, then you kind of control where you are in the air, up, down, land. Okay, so you're doing this, then you can kind of point the tail, so it tells you what direction you want to face the helicopter. Then this makes you go forward. This would kind of roll it a little bit, and you'd use a little bit of rudder input to yaw the aircraft. And the whole idea is as you're doing all this, you know, there's certain spots where your thumbs are going to have a hard time saying, I want to go exactly straight forward, but I've got a little bit of left or a little bit of right. The Expo helps a lot with eliminating some of that, without eliminating what this means. This is go as fast as you can. I want to avoid that tree. Or go as fast as you can because I'm trying to roll the helicopter and I don't want it to be upside down and vulnerable for a long time. Okay. So just a couple of different things. The Expo is definitely something that's useful. My recommendation is to just try different levels of Expo. Now keep in mind in Futaba and Spectrum, two different protocols, DSMX, DSM2 over on Spectrum, and then S-Bus and s-fhss over on the Futaba side. They do Expo, they express exponential opposite one another, which is really confusing for people. So just, you know, like a positive value is not necessarily the same on Futaba as it is on Spectrum. So in Spectrum, we speak in terms of the positive value means that there's more exponential. I believe on Futaba, the less the number is, would be the same as the Spectrum going up. I don't know why that is. It's just, you know, difference in nomenclature. All right, so getting back to the point, I heard some beeping. I think we've had enough manual time because that was super lame. But for those of you that are new to the hobby, these are the types of things that nobody ever explains. They just assume you like magically know these things. Like your parents are like, oh, hi, baby. Mama, Dada, 2S, Expo. It's not the way it works in my world. So this one says it's done. It put in 145 milliamps of charge. Okay, so that's pretty, milliamp hours in this case. And now I'm gonna pull this out, and then I'm gonna unplug this. If you build your own adapter, just be super careful. You don't wanna short circuit anything. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna jump over to this screen. Yeah, this one's also done. So you may have noticed that these both finished before that charger finished. And if you look at it, there's no light on. So maybe it is done, or maybe it burned up, I'm not sure. Let's check. We have an XBC battery checker, but it's over here because we're working on this small little dainty project over here. So we're just gonna plug this in. This is a super nice tool, by the way, if you don't have one. So 98% is what it says. 99% is what that says. And we're gonna try to give you guys as fair representation as we can on all these different devices. That thing goes to red flashing when it's been disconnected from a fully charged pack. Look at that, it actually got us to the top, the most full charge. Oh, wait, it overcharged. That's nice. Look, 4.238, that's always handy. So, understanding lipos is the best way to prevent having lipo fires, okay? There's two ways people get hurt in RC, aviation, especially in helicopters. People get cut and people have lipo fires, okay? Lipo fires are usually inconsequential nothings, meaning you crash a plane or a helicopter and there's a little puff of smoke and everybody moves on and it's not a big deal. But very occasionally, people do have problems with these because they're reckless with them, or they abuse them, or they get puffed up so they look like this and they keep flying on them, or they over discharge, meaning they use it too fast on an aircraft, or they let them sit charged for years and they turn into a ball and then they catch on fire and they burn some poor person's house down. Hopefully that isn't gonna be you. So the easiest way to avoid that is use batteries that are high quality, keep them charged only as long as you need to, and then discharge them to 3.8 volts per cell. This is 4.2 volts per cell. When you get over 4.2 volts, the chemistry becomes more unstable than it already is, and lithium polymer packs, especially soft packs like this, are more dangerous and vulnerable to damage than a hard pack like you'd find in a car. But it's the same technology inside, and so just be aware of that. And basically all it is foil that wraps around paper and non-paper, paper, non-paper, paper. It looks like a capacitor, and it's just kind of like wrapped up, and then there's lithium dust, and that's what makes the charging circuit for one cell. There's 3 cells on here, okay? Those are in series, and that's how you get the 3S. Well, why isn't it 3C? Because 3C speaks to the speed by which you can charge. And then, well, what's 30C mean? 30C means the rate by which you can discharge, which is typically understood to be 3 times if it's 30. So, not confusing enough, just wait longer. Anyway, so we've got 3 batteries. This is the one that got charged on the stock pack, so we'll just go with that one first. And what we're gonna do is we are going to throttle hold. This slides in. I just wanna point something out to you. When you slide in your battery, make sure that your motor is not in contact with that battery. You wanna talk about a lipo fire, that's how you can do it for sure, okay? Also, be careful. Let it sit still, don't do anything crazy. Those lights start flashing. Okay, so we can see it's responsive, looks very free. That's very, very, very cool. Okay, so we have pitch back, pitch forward, roll left, roll right. And then of course, what I wanna do is test the throttle hold is working, and it is. And you can see the pitch here based on the stick position, but no movement of the motor, which is important, okay? So now I can put this cover on, which is just basically plastic. And all you have to do is get the grommets to line up. And then these grommets, well, that worked really nice. That's a super, super soft grommet. These grommets have been the bane of my existence when it comes to helis because it's usually a real pain in the neck to get that on. So the other thing is if these are too stiff, sometimes it takes too long for them to go out and you'll actually flip your helicopter over. So be careful. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take off here, and we'll bring that XBC battery checker out with us in a minute. Are you good to take off for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna see how terrible this is. Okay, so far so good. A little bit of oscillation, so it makes me nervous. Sometimes I'll slow down the blades by touching the top. We're gonna pause and come right back. All right, guys, so I've decided that I'm just gonna play it safe for now, and we're gonna go outside and fly this thing. When you start getting into metal parts on helicopters, what happens is when they hit your wife's cabinet doors, instead of just like blowing up in a million pieces and having a very small amount of damage, you end up with much damage. And so I just want to refresh your memory. This is like a bunch of metal here, and it looks super nice and it looks really, really well tuned, but I'm not willing to gamble that with my future having a home to sleep in a bed at. So I'm basically gonna go fly this outside to preserve my rights as a husband. So we're gonna go outside and fly this. If you wanna buy one of these Eachine E150s, check the link in the video description below. Eachine makes some good stuff. Hopefully we have great experience outside with this. And then once I've established whether or not I feel comfortable flying it, then we'll go ahead and bring it inside and we can fly it inside. But that's all you get for tonight. Thanks, YouTube. Come back for more.